right, so if you're ready, I'm ready. I'm just turning the plane around.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. All right, so we're good to go.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees on the roll, 3-1.
And we're off the ground.
Wow.
Edenvale traffic, F172 con pipes about a mile and a half north of the field. Will be westbound 2,000 feet on route to Collingwood. And Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is airborne off of 3-1. I have the aircraft 1 mile north. We're going to be heading towards Wasaga Beach, and I'll stay down at 1,500. We'll maintain 2,000.
I'm just watching that other aircraft that's right over there. It's kind of tough to see, but he's flying there.
Oh, I see it.
Approaching altitude.
I'm just trying to get away from the airport a little bit. I don't want to be doing flight lessons too close to a busy area.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, clear your zone to the north, 1,800.
All right, Matt, you ready to try this thing or what?
Yeah.
All right, man. So you choose what hand you want to use on that control stick, but just hold it gently.
Yeah.
And I just want you to feel what it's like when I turn the aircraft. The best thing to do is look outside when we do this. If you look in here, you're going to get confused and the plane's going to tend to overreact. So if you just look outside, I'm going to take the plane and I'm going to turn it right. I'm just going to take this stick and give it a little pull to the right like that. See how it banks?
Yeah.
Gets steeper and steeper and steeper unless we pull it back.
Okay.
Now we go back to level again. We just give it a little tug like that to keep it level. Now we're going to do a left turn.
Collingwood traffic, F172 con pipe is about 7 to the east. We'll be north of the field, westbound 2,000 feet on pipeline patrol.
Nice. All right, so we're just going to straighten that out, and I'll show you the other two movements we can do. We can climb or we can descend, but we're going to do a climb first. To climb an aircraft, you just pull the stick towards you a little bit. So just like that. See how the nose of the plane comes up?
Yeah.
All right, here we're going into a cloud. I don't want to do that. So level off right there. And now we're going to try descending. We'll push this nose down. Everything is to be done with very small movements. You don't want to overreact on that control stick or it will steer the plane extremely quick, which would tend to get quite violent and it could get a lot of G-force, right? So as you got a chance to feel those 4 basic movements of the aircraft, I'm going to slowly remove my hands from the control stick. The sky is yours. I'll just show you the areas you can't fly over, but other than that, this area is pretty open. Feel free to fly the plane. You have control of it. Okay. I'll work the throttle, which is right here. Don't worry about that. One of the harder things to do while flying is to not descend or climb while doing the turns. So it takes some time getting used to. Very nice. Have you ever tried Flight Simulator or something?
No.
Collingwood traffic.
Really?
November Echo Charlie is down and clearing 3-1.
You're pretty good at this.
Oh, it's really nice out here.
Beautiful, yeah. This is Wasaga Beach.
I don't think I've ever been here before.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot in the summertime. Even in the winter over there, that's Blue Mountain Ski Resort. You can see the hill there with all those lines. The town of Collingwood.
So do you live up here?
A little bit further south. But I know the area very well.
So what got you into flying?
I've just always loved the idea of
flying
a plane.
Looking for an airport advisory.
How quick you can get places, how free it is up here, very limited laws. A lot of freedom.
Right, showing winds from the north, 6 to 7 knots, active 3-1.
So right now you probably think we're going pretty slow. We're not. We're doing about 170 kilometers an hour.
Really?
Altitude.
Yep. It feels slow because we're so high. Like we're well over, we're around 1,300 feet over the ground. So we're about as tall as the observation deck at the CN Tower right now.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, we can't go any higher because of this wall of cloud right above us.
Yeah.
So to go through clouds, you need a certain type of license. They call that an instrument license. And your plane has to be certified for doing so. That means you have to be able to know how to fly blind, which is tricky.
Like just using this?
Just using that, and it does get quite complex. If you lose all those reference points to the ground, a person can get very confused just by looking at the instruments. How you feeling so far? Good?
Pretty good, yeah.
You okay with the heights?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Feels like a video game.
I've heard that a few times, yeah. Just so you know, you are in full control of the aircraft. I'm not doing anything. So you're doing pretty darn good. Obviously, the trickier things to do while flying a plane is the takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
If there's a certain area you want to fly over to, you can. It's up to you. You just continue playing with the aircraft. Yeah, we climbed up a bit. We almost got into that cloud. I'm going to open this canopy because it's not sunny. There you go.
Really sensitive.
Very.
Collingwood traffic, 752, con pipe is about 4 to the northwest at 2,000 feet. We'll be looking to join straight in, left downwind, full stop 3-1.
Yeah, that's why we just keep practicing this skill so it doesn't, you don't notice the sensitivity so much as you get better and better at it.
Leaving altitude.
Anything you want to go see from up here?
Maybe some ski hills or something?
Sure, we can head over that way. Okay. So what I recommend is just kind of fly the coast. We don't want to go too far inland over there because there's a very busy airport.
Traffic, Comfi's entering the left downwind for full stop 31.
So the guy that's talking on the radio there, he's landing right now at that airport over there. Very hard to see right now, but there is one there.
Is it the one with all those like white long things?
It should be, yeah, there's a bunch of buildings kind of littered over there with white roofs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the long white thing past that.
Oh. What's like the biggest plane you've ever flown?
Biggest plane I've flown is probably an eight-seater. I'm not really crazy about flying the bigger stuff. I enjoy the small stuff. It's more like a sports car, right?
Yeah. Like the prop?
If you're asking me, have I flown a jet? No. No, I've never been in control of a jet. So if you take the plane and go this way, we want to stay along this coastline because, like I said, that airport's right over there. Yeah, I personally like the nice small stuff because it's more agile. The bigger the plane, the harder it is to steer. The sloppier it is, the less steep you can do in turns.
Yeah, this would be really nice to just do all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people do it as a hobby. They'll get their license and sometimes they'll buy a plane, sometimes they'll just rent planes. And they'll do family vacations with planes. You get places a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Traffic, Comfi's turning final, full stop 31.
But you own this?
Yeah, this is my plane.
Does it like take a lot of time to maintain it and stuff?
Not really. Not a lot of maintenance required, and no different than, well, actually it is a little bit different than a car. Maintenance on aircraft are done by the amount of hours flown on the aircraft, not so much how far you've flown. But it's very straightforward. And there's a lot of airport mechanics out there. Preventative maintenance protects you from a lot of trouble. So as long as you're always doing things based on the schedule, you tend to have a safe airplane. So this is the town of Collingwood now. You're doing pretty good with this thing.
Thanks.
Yeah, the two most important instruments I find in an aircraft are this one here is the most important. That's our airspeed. That's how fast the plane is cutting through the wind at. And this is our altimeter telling us how high above sea level we are. And that's all in feet. So this is in knots. That's in feet.
Down and clear 3-1.
So how would it work if we were above the mountains? Like, would it count the mountain as the bottom floor, or would it?
No, it counts the oceans of the Earth as sea level. So right now we are not 1,900 feet above the ground. We are 1,900 feet above, say, the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean. So we have to calibrate that. We have to know the elevation of the ground before we take off to know where the ground is. The ground in this area is roughly at 700 feet. Because Collingwood is about 700 feet above sea level already.
Oh.
So there's some basic math a person has to do, but as a person trains to be a pilot, they learn how to do that.
Approaching
we
altitude.
have maps of everywhere you fly, and it tells you how many feet above sea level all these places are.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
That's Blue Mountain Ski Resort right there.
Looks nice.
One of the bigger ones in Ontario.
Do you fly in the winter and stuff, or does it get too cold?
I do. Yeah, the plane has a heater. It all depends on how cold it is too. Like, I don't like to go out when it's below -20. But -10, -15 is fine. It just gets so hard for the heater to keep up because we're going so fast through the air. It creates a lot of wind chill.
Leaving altitude. Approaching altitude. Leaving altitude.
We're in a bit of a descent. We're on our way down towards the ground.
Oh.
That's it. Just a little pullback. Nice. So the one thing we don't want to do in an airplane is go too slow. If we go too slow, we run out of air traveling over the wings,
altitude.
and the aircraft will no longer fly. It becomes a condition they call a stall.
Altitude.
Now right now we're in no danger of that. The stall in this aircraft happens somewhere in this area. So as long as we keep this plane always flying faster than 60 knots, we should have no threat of a stall happening.
So how come it goes by knots instead of like kilometers or miles per hour?
They're more accurate for judging and history too. Like, it's been in knots for years. Knots is a unit of measurement that was used in navigation for oceans as well. And it has to do with the way the Earth is laid out, the grid pattern on the longitude and latitude. They're done in nautical miles, so it makes sense to have this in knots. Knots are very similar units to miles per hour. So we're roughly doing, I don't know, 75 miles per hour. Some people will put an instrument in their aircraft that will show kilometers per hour, but it gets confusing because all of your charts are done in knots, all like the maps.
Oh.
So it's easy just to stay with one thing.
So what would exceeding in 146 knots do?
It could damage the frame of the aircraft. Worst case scenario, doing something like that could rip the wings right off the plane. It's just putting a lot of force on the aircraft.
Wow.
So we don't mess around with that kind of stuff. The only way you would be able to do something like that with this plane is
altitude.
leaving the power on and pointing right to the ground. So most likely, if you're high enough, up enough, the wings will fall off before you even hit the ground. So we don't do that, right? We just don't even get, but look, we're in no danger of that ever happening. We're not even close to there. You would have to do something pretty stupid to do that.
Definitely.
Approaching altitude.
The only reason why the computer's saying that is because I set that little blue indicator at 2,000 feet. Anytime you veer off from it, she'll just remind you that you're leaving it by 100 feet. It doesn't mean we have to be at that altitude, it's just where I put it.
So can you like travel with this plane?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like just put a suitcase in the back and go somewhere?
Pretty much.
That's nice.
Yeah, I've taken this plane to Florida.
Altitude.
Really? You can fly that far?
Oh yeah. This plane will go 700 miles, so about 1,100 kilometers before you have to get fuel.
Really?
Your bladder's not going to last that long.
Is it hard flying for that long?
I don't think so. Once the hard thing is becoming the pilot. After that, I find it's that's the easy part. Flying in a straight direction for a long period of time is not really that tricky. Because you learn how to do all the stuff. You learn how to navigate before you do a flight like that. You learn all the stuff, so it's not that difficult.
What's more difficult, the takeoff or the landing?
It all depends on the person. I have some students that have a hard time with the landing, and I have others that have a hard time with the takeoff. Everybody's a little bit different, and then some don't really have a hard time with either one. It just kind of comes naturally. It becomes a balancing thing though, right? You have to be good at multitasking to do any of that portion of flying, because you have to start working your throttle and working your control stick, all while keeping your airspeed at a certain speed. So it just becomes a balancing act between your hands and your feet and your stuff like that, right? Some people pick it up in 3-4 hours. Some people might take them 8 hours to learn it. I always recommend anybody who's ever going to get into flying or want to get their license, it's probably a good idea to buy a decent flight simulator. It'll save you some money because you'll be able to practice at home. And although those things are not that accurate, it still gives you a pretty darn good idea of the same mechanics of an airplane. And I find students that are really good on a flight simulator tend to be really good while flying the aircraft.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because you're learning a lot of the same things and not having to dish out the money every time, right?
Yeah.
So we're back to Wasaga Beach. Obviously, it's not busy today because it's a crappy day out.
Yeah.
But generally in the summertime, right ahead of us there, see that area of the beach where there's no trees?
Yeah.
That's like the popular public area of the beach. It's got some bars, restaurants, stuff like that. It's packed with people.
There's like a little canal behind the houses. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the Wasaga River.
Where does it go to?
Oh, well, I know it for sure it goes as far as the town of Alliston, which is halfway to Toronto. I'm not sure what happens to it after it gets to Alliston because I didn't really follow it much before. Yeah, you're really getting the hang of this thing.
Traffic November Lima Yankees joining mid left downwind 31.
running to 31.
4 Zulu. Wind 050 at 03 knots. Wind variable between 0, 2, 0 and 080. Temperature 18 Celsius. Dew point 12 Celsius. Altimeter 3026 inches of mercury.
Altitude.
Traffic, November Lima Yankees turning left base 31.
Altitude.
Any questions for me at all?
Approaching altitude.
All right, no problem.
So how does the autopilot
Leaving
work?
altitude.
How does it work?
Yeah, like, do you press it and it just controls the speed and the throttle, or what?
Well, it controls direction.
Yankee final 31, full stop.
So if we press the button, the servos in the wings will take over and control our direction to whatever heading we tell it to go. If we were flying based on GPS, it would bring us to our destination, but you still have to control the throttle.
That's cool.
So it just makes it so you can go hands off, eat something, write something down, whatever you want to do, right?
Is the longest flight you've been on to Florida?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a 10-hour flight.
Wow. I don't think I'd be able to sit in this for 10 hours straight.
No, and neither did I. I would go 3 hours at a time, land at an airport, have lunch, go to the bathroom, stuff like that. Get some more fuel, keep going. No different than a road trip, right? You just put in the hours you can handle, stop, take a break. You see a lot of cool scenery though, and that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, on the way there.
So what we're going to do, Matt, we're going to do a left turn, and we're going to start going in the vicinity of the airport. I'll get you to steer us towards there.
Okay.
So we'll keep our altitude where it's at right now.
Diesel traffic, November Lima Yankees on the backtrack, 31 for Delta.
The airport we came from is right off to your left over there.
Altitude.
You might be able to see that long runway.
Yeah, I do.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go towards that airport. So level it off here. Yeah, level those wings.
And November Lima Yankees, they're up 31 on Delta.
We're going to go in that direction for a certain period of time there, and I'll let you know. Eventually what we're going to have to do is we have to enter what they call the landing pattern or the circuit. So we don't want to go too much this way, a little bit to the right. We have to enter into a pattern called the downwind. The downwind is flying parallel to that runway at 1,700 feet. We don't have to be there yet. There's another aircraft right over here.
Oh.
He just took off.
Can you give airport advisory, please?
I'm just going to make a radio announcement to let the other pilots know what we're doing, because we never want to collide with another plane.
Yeah, definitely not.
Edenvale traffic, SportStar India, Juliet, Kilo Yankees, 5 miles northwest of the field, descending through 2000 to circuit height to join us straight in, downwind, 3-1.
So this, yeah, the altitude we have to be at is 1,700 feet. And what we're going to do is we're going to steer the plane a little bit more to the right. We want to fly like this, parallel to the runway. Almost like we're imagining there's another runway over here and we're aiming for it. That's in the same direction. So that's it right there. Now do a little bit of a turn to the right. Get you right in the right direction. Now when it comes to the landing, I'm going to have to take over because it gets quite challenging, right? But if you can just maintain this direction at 1,700 feet, that'll be perfect. The sun was peeking through for a second there. Very nice. I'll make another radio announcement here.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee, established left downwind, 3-1, full stop.
How does it make your voice sound so cool when you say that?
I don't, I'm not sure. I think when I push on the button, it's a little bit of a different sound in your ear because it's transmitting. I don't know. Not bad, man. Nice. So this is what we call flying the downwind. All planes have to do this. We're going to be landing in this direction on the runway. We do this so we can inspect the runway, make sure there's nobody on it, no vehicles, no people or animals. Climbed up just a little bit there, but that's it. Just let her come down a touch. Very nice. So the runway looks clear to me.
Yeah.
Coming up right around here, I think I'll take over because it's going to get kind of tricky. So I have control again. That was good, man. You did well.
Thanks.
How did it feel?
Oh, good.
Yeah, you might want to take some pictures.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning left base, 3-1, full stop.
This is where I have to slow the aircraft down. I want to get this speed to 65 knots. 1 flap, 2 flap. There we go. Now we're down, going down. Nice
Leaving
controlled
altitude.
descent. Right now the engine's doing nothing for us. I have it really shut down to idle. No different than it's if I shut it off. We're just kind of gliding down.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee, turning final, 3-1.
It's tricky too because of the winds. The closer you get to the ground, the more the winds start kind of pushing you around.
Could feel it.
Yeah, sometimes it can get quite violent coming in for landings. You could be all over the sky. You got to stay cool on the stick and maintain 65 knots. Yeah, the wind just lifted us there. We're down, sir. Safe and sound.
That was great.
Good stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Your stomach was okay, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people get a little bit airsick, right? It's good for you that you did.
Edenvale traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, clear 3-1, backtracking 26 to the apron.
Nice job, man. Nice job.
Thanks. I really enjoyed this.
Good.